So can you just help educate our audience on the national security threat that TikTok poses? If you were to try to convince someone that knows next to nothing about this topic, what would you say to try to convince them?
Yeah, look, TikTok is fundamentally different than other social media out there. And here's why. For years, TikTok represented to U.S. lawmakers that U.S. user data, sensitive data, doesn't even exist in China. And then in 2022, a blockbuster story came out that shows that that's nothing other than gaslighting. Leaked material shows that, quote, everything is seen in China. And the everything is not your average cat video. It is search and browsing history, keystroke patterns, biometrics, location information. And personnel in Beijing have already used that to spy on the location of specific Americans. TikTok's different because their parent company, ByteDance, has a CCP cell literally embedded in its leadership. Its parent is subject to this 2017 national security law in China that compels it to spy and not disclose it. And TikTok's different because there's been independent risk analysis that has shown that there's cybersecurity issues with that app that are, by this Malcore measure, more than twice as bad as Facebook and Google. So do we need to rein in Facebook? And I've seen President Trump talk about this again, rightly so. Yeah, we need to do that. But there is something very different about TikTok that's a national security issue that is different than the very concerning issues with privacy and data flows that is to the communist left of those existing ones because it's beholden to the CCP. And again, people talk about, free speech and First Amendment. Absolutely, this bill can protect that. And just real quick, Supreme Court draws a distinction between regulation based on content on the one hand and regulation based on conduct on the other. In fact, there's a Supreme Court case, Arcara Books, where the government shut down a bookstore because the owner was using it to run a prostitution ring out of the bookstore. He went to the Supreme Court and said, you can't shut my bookstore down. This is quintessentially First Amendment activity. And the Supreme Court said, no, this is about the conduct taking place there, not the content. And that's the same with TikTok. So it's not the free speech rights of the Americans that are on TikTok. Of course, they should get to express their views without government interference. The problem is that TikTok has been engaging in these conduct of moving data back and surveillance and espionage as well. So this is a bill that's targeted to the conduct